Hello there, this is Mini Pots, and I am doing a video review of or flip through of another rule book. Let There Be Light, Bronze Shield, Silver Coin. Well, with the advent and the announcement of Warriors of Athena by Joseph McCullough coming up from Osprey, I had decided to pick up some sprues from Victrix. And why is that important? Because sometimes you get minis and you're like, I want to play more than one game with them. It's hard to figure that out. It's hard to figure out what games you can get. So I did my search and this one came up. And I had watched this initial review done by the author Raymond Wallaker on YouTube when it was soon after it was released. And at that time, I didn't know what I was into, but I knew it was not historicals. And I may not still be in historicals, but I am leaning towards realism, historical, fantasy more than the 40K. And that's going to come up in another video. But in any case, this is a flip through of the Bronze Shield Silver Coin book. This is published or you're available on Drive-Thru RPG as well as Wargame Vault. I got the paperback through Wargame Vault. It is nicely done. It has well laid out. I like the large font. I like the beautiful pictures. And there is a lot of great things going on in this. Now, so create your own mercenary captain. Build a warband of about 10 soldiers and undertake campaigns alongside or against your friends. Bronze Shield Silver Coin is an ancients war game you can play with just a couple of sprues of models. Battle shifts suddenly as you backstab your friends and get your soldiers betray them. Just like the ancient world, the perfect skirmish game for those new to ancient wargaming or for using your existing models in a new adventure. Simple, flavorful rules emphasize maneuvering, backstabbing, and management of your precious silver supply. 8 scenarios based on dirty history of ancient mercenaries. More than 20 special abilities to customize your warbands. Campaign rules let you chain together games to tell the story of your warband. Now, he is working on another game which is shown back here in the back, I think. This is the 10 mil Alien Earth versus the Invaders game. And I think he has another one coming up, similar to having Napoleonic miniatures, I think. He does have a website. He does have a couple Facebook groups. Uh, I should have looked into that with more depth before I began this video, but sometimes things are what it is. And so, beautiful illustrations. And the neat thing about this, again, this is summary of what you're going to be, the game is about. And you don't have, well, okay, mercenaries. And he does this cool thing of outlining various mercenary captains from ancient history. Now, I did not think of this initially when I began reading this. I was like, okay, I don't want a history uh, history synopsis. That's not the right. But as I began to think about it. So this is not the Jason the Argonauts. It could be, but it's not. It is taking the idea that for a period, Greece had a extensive history of hiring or having mercenary captains who led war bands to help benefit and better those men and their lives. This was really the documented first of having professional soldiers, so to speak. And as I understand it, and he does this cool thing of going into the history of, so you have Xenophon, Memnon, a lady mercenary, Sine, Archias. Okay, so let's go to Sine, and I am probably mispronouncing that. Half sister to Alexander the Great, Sine was not a mercenary herself, but gathered and led mercenary forces from the front lines, where she donned armor and fought in hand to hand combat. Raised in the Illyrian warrior woman tradition, she excelled in combat, statecraft, and leadership. She herself led an expedition to crush a rebellious Illyrian queen and is recorded as dueling and slaying the traitor with her own hand on the battlefield. As a parent, this is important. Not that you want to have your children taking up arms or whatnot, but I have a little girl who has interests occasionally in what I'm doing. And I think it's really cool to be able to find a reference, historically based, where they could turn and be inspired, or you can inspire the little girl. There's so much, I find it so important in our world to inspire others, and we know that in many ways the world is often against us before it even starts. But if we can find the faith and understanding to inspire, I just think this is great. I was impressed with that. It's a simple detail. There's only one in here, but there's one. And right now, my 4-year old, if she wanted to be a warrior woman on my little 2x2 battle grid, I'm game with that. Then they have the seconds, because when you create this, which I'll be following, is you have a captain and you have a second, then you do the war bands. The captains are special in the sense that they have, you can probably hear my kids' laughter. I need to, um, just a second. So you have your mercenary captain and a second. They'll have a couple different abilities than the rest of the soldiers, but then you'll have a group. You're given 20 coins to build your warband with, and you have a choice of 5 different soldiers. But you also, and that's in the beginning, you also have a choice back here of elite soldiers. Now, what do they do? The difference between the elite and the standard is that they can possibly carry 2 weapons. They don't suffer the dice advantage. I'll go a little bit into the dice stuff in this, but so you assign your captain. You will need 8 to 12. This is what you need. This is the standard. I think this is cool for modern wargaming, is that it gives you what you need so that you could sit down, you could purchase the PDF, you could see, oh, I don't have 12 miniatures. I don't have 8 miniatures. I do have plenty of die 6, I do have plenty of die 8, and I do have plenty of die 10. And if you watch my other videos, you know I have plenty of D12s, a tape measure, and I have a couple rulers laying around. 20 drachma tokens. Okay, I had bought one of those fantasy coin things, and so I'm set there. Uh, Playing card decks, yeah, I have a couple of those. Tokens. Well, I don't really have oh, wait, I bought work right. So you can see, you can get everything up here up front. Now, obviously, you may or may not have the Greek looking soldiers, and that could be a problem. So you do what I did and you buy sprues. Or in the case of, because we have Athena, Warriors of Athena coming out by, and I'll probably say the title of that book 5 or 6 different ways before the end of the video, which is funny because it's only 3 words, as I recall. And well, there's heroes and quests, so I guess it's 4 words. So how to mix those up, I don't know. You do, everything's done on a test, and I thought I had die here, but hang on. So I had to go and get my dice, and this is my RPG dice that I have right handy, that I like to have matched colors because I'm weird like that. But future warband, setting that aside. Now, number of dice and type of dice. 2d6. Now we saw this something similar in When Nightmares Come, and that by Patrick Todoroff, where you're using 2 dice and you're taking away the lower one. But this is not the case. All quality tests are passed on a 4 or higher. A character initiates a fight and rolls a quality test. And this is just a basic soldier, so he's just going to have the basic d6. Oh, but this one's 3. I don't have 3, but we will fudge. Okay, both made it. So we have 2 successes. Single quality test works the same way as a standard quality test, but only ever be attempted with 1 dice. So this one is a little bit harder. He still makes it. Okay, that's funny. I rolled doubles again. So modifiers. Bronze shield, silver coin does not modify dice results for quality tests, but does modify the number of dice rolled and the type of dice rolled. If a rule calls for the number of dice rolled to be changed, add or subtract dice from the affected character's quality when making a dice test. So there's no limit on the number of dice that can be rolled in a quality test. If a number of dice is ever modified to 0 or less, no quality test can be attempted. Okay. So you just automatically fail. If a rule calls for the roll to be shifted up or shifted down, then change the dice type of the affected character roll up or down 1 level. So this took me a few seconds to grasp. And so you go from a d6 to your d8 to your d10. And why is that important? It probably higher probability of getting something 4 or higher on the both die. And that's an advantage. That's sort of like you did RPGing and you were doing the current version of D&D 5e, where you have the advantage. And you can't go above D10. If a D6 is ever shifted down, no quality test can be attempted, so you automatically fail. Drachma tokens. When playing a campaign, you will also track the drachma in your warband's treasury for hiring and upkeep. So I'll get there in a few seconds, or a few minutes. In combat, any character who is within 1 inch of an enemy model is said to be in combat. And I was looking for some appropriate fantasy or historical minis, but I don't have any right handy. Initiative. During employment at the start of each turn, players roll off by each rolling a d6 and comparing the results. The player who rolls higher is said to have initiative. Now, there is some skills that either your captain or his second can have that will kick you up. A warband is made up of a captain, a second, and a number of soldiers. Each character has their own skill sheet. Record your warband skill sheets And I'm sure this is probably available on the website, but back of the book there is some wonderful a wonderful skill sheet that I'm sure you can copy. So you have your captain, your second, and your soldiers. Your captain has called, the captain leads your warband into battle and adventure. This is your avatar, for lack of a better term. Your captain has quality 3d8. Equip them with any one weapon, and there may also equip a shield. Assign 2 major abilities and 1 minor ability. Second, basically the same thing, but he is, instead of 3d8, he is 2d8. Soldiers. As a mercenary captain, you'll recruit a lethal mix of troops, skillful archers, stalwart hoplites. We'll get that. And all soldiers have 2d6 as their base, and they come with the equipment listed in their profile. It gives weapon summaries: spear, hand weapon, dagger, heavy weapon. And long swords, other one-handed weapons. You do have the possibility of recruiting Gauls or barbarian troops, and so that's where the longsword would come in. But there are, I'm noticing, troop types that use weapons, use sword type weapons. So then ranged weapons. You have your bow or sling, javelins, and they have a range. So bow or sling 12, and you cannot, or two-handed throwing spears, javelins, 6-inch range. And they automatically have a dagger, all your ranged fighters. So they at least can do something in combat. Shields. You have your light shield and your heavy shield. Now these are the abilities that you would give your captain. Chain attack, defensive, duelist, inspiring, intimidating, merciless, taunt, ox strength, philosophers, sure-eyed, and tough. Now notice, if you want to do it randomly, you could. So, inspiring, whenever this character defeats an enemy in fight, for the remainder of the phase, when other friendly character fights within 3 inch, add 1 die to their roll. And so you can sort of see where, from historical, or if we read the Greek histories or Greek myths, where the soldiers, you can envision this. And you've seen it in the movies, the Harry Houseman, I'm probably, no, Ray Harryhausen, where you can see it in the movies, you can see it, and you can envision this. This is something you can imagine. Merciless taunt. At the start of the combat phase, select an enemy model within 3 inches, shifts down their quality test. Ox strength. Once per turn, when this character fights, shifts up its quality test. So the hero would go from 3d8 to 3d10. Philosopher. So this has something which I have not discussed yet. This is where the deck of cards comes into play. Captain only. Anytime a friendly model is affected by an opponent's intrigue card, if this character is on the board, roll a single quality test for the captain. If passed, the friendly model may ignore the effects. If failed, the intrigue card is applied normally. So they have developed the mental fortitude to withstand the thoughts of the prevailing thoughts of the time. And intrigue cards will affect the game, and if you're playing solo, they can affect it turn by turn. Now, this is something I thought, all of them show spears with a shield. One-handed, this character is considered, and so I'm just verifying. Yeah. So you can do that. You can do this classic pose here of having your hero with a shield and your minor abilities. So you have your acrobat, beastmaster, bodyguard. This is for your second, and where if he is going to be within close proximity of your captain, and he will take the blows for the um, captain. Impetus, where you permanently shift this character's quality up. Marked by the gods, Peltus, that means he can throw javelins. So that's an advantage. That would give you a 6-inch range. Seer, stealthy, rally, resourceful, wealthy. And you would start with 30 drachma tokens instead of the standard 20. If you haven't figured, I'm not trying to go in depth into the rules, but I'm going to do a nice overview. I'm going to cover enough of them, and I'm just going to encourage you to go out and try to buy the book off of War Games World or Drive Through RPG. If you get the book itself, it's $21, but you can get the PDF with it as well. I'm sure on it's less than that if you just get the PDF. I forget the exact price, but I'll try to remember to post a link or a post. It's hard for me to post links. I'll price here through a little screenshot. Different soldiers. You have your spearman, sellsword, barbarian, archer, and peltist. And this is so without the heavy shield, he's going to cost 2 coins or 2 drachma. With 3, start a game. Play a game of bronze shield, silver coin. Choose a scenario to play. Roll a d8 to let the gods, or roll a d8 to let the gods decide. Scenario will provide guidance on board setup and how to deploy your warband. After deployment, each player gets 20 drachma tokens. This represents the payouts, bribes, and bonuses you will need to motivate your men during critical times. In a campaign, drachma tokens are not withdrawn from the warband's treasury. You get them for free. However, any drachma tokens you have not spent during the battle are added back to your treasury after the game, so you get a nice little bonus there. Shuffle a deck of normal playing cards. Deal 3 face down to each player. These are the intrigue cards and can be played on your opponents to sow dissension and confuse other warbands. If a player ever receives a joker, that player must immediately roll on the random events table and draw another card. Turn outline. Initiative, movement, shooting, combat, consolidation. I forgot the word intrigue, but that's where the dealing of the cards comes into play. And this is sort of a alternating, you move a miniature, I move a miniature, and then it goes back and forth until everyone's then the next turn starts. And I knew that as I go, you go, but I think that is alternating now. Initiative and intrigue phase. So after the first turn, after your first initiative, you have each beginning the second turn, each player receives 1 intrigue card. So you start with 3, so you get another. It doesn't tell you the maximum you can have in your hand. Players roll off for initiative using a d6 in each phase of that turn. The player rolled higher is said to have initiative and gets to act first. Bid for initiative, starting with the player and with initiative intrigue cards. So every turn after the first, you roll for initiative. So it's going to go back and forth. It's possibility to go back and forth. But this is the thing that you can do. You can bid on initiative. After the initiative has been rolled for, any player may call for a bid to attempt to seize the initiative. All players secretly select a number of drachma tokens. We suggest secretly placing a number of drachma under your hand and revealing it at the same time as your opponents. And if you call for the bid, you can bid 0. When all players are ready, they reveal their bids. You've done this before, and then you discard the drachma that you spent on your bids if you win. Oh, no, not even if you win. Intrigue cards. Intrigue cards represent the subterfuge, propaganda, bribes, and other tests of loyalty that commanders in ancient battles often use to sabotage the loyalty of their opponent's troops. So I thought that was a cool little idea in the sense that you have your deck of cards and you are given 3 cards and you can use those cards for different things. We'll go over that quickly in a second, and that will sort of show us where we're at. Once a player passes, no more intrigue cards may be played by that player. A character can only ever be... So this is after you rolled initiative. So you gain initiative, you're then given a chance to use intrigue cards. So is your opponent. An intrigue card may never be played on an opponent's captain. And so we have the intrigue card effects. If it's a number card, this is if you're playing against a person. If you're playing solo, there's different effects for the cards. Select a number enemy soldier. The controller player may discard a number of drachma equal to the card. If they do not, the selected soldier may not activate in the following movement or shooting phase. So he hesitates. Jack, zealous, god of rivalry and envy. Select an enemy second. They make a single quality check. If failed, they may not activate in the following movement or shooting phase. Again, Queen. This is, so you draw it doesn't matter on the suit, which would give more options if you wanted to do that, but probably make it more cumbersome in some ways. The Queen, goddess of onslaught and pursuit. Yoke. Oak? Joke? Okay. Select an enemy second or soldier. They make a single quality check. If failed, the character must move the maximum distance towards the nearest enemy in the next movement phase. This move may force the character into combat. So that's a way to King, god of the battlefield confusion. Kaidomos. Select an enemy soldier. They make a single quality check. If failed, the player who plays this card may make a normal movement with that soldier, and the soldier cannot activate during the following movement or shooting phase. You can't move off the board, so you can't just, that's cool. Plutus, god of wealth. You receive 10 more drachma to add to your pool to bid. Taiki, got it, and which is cool. So you would go from 20 to 30, and you would carry over the remainder to the next game if you're playing a campaign. Goddess of chance, the Joker. Immediately roll a random event. And let's see what the random events are. So there is 6. Usually, yeah. Your troops demand an immediate payout. Conspiring politicians add their support. Wild wolves. So you will need a few extra minis, possibly. God send a tempest. So they cause all of your missile weapons to not work as well. So if you're heavily missile based, your Bad Owens boss. And there's possibility of the second not fighting. Reinforcements, roll a d3. And they're going to be sword and shield bearing. Movement. All characters' normal movement is up to 8 inches. This is modified, can be modified by, like you can even have cavalry in this. Characters who activate in combat may not move. Characters cannot move over the base of another model. So you can't move through friendly or unfriendly models. Characters cannot move within 1 inch of an enemy model unless they are moving into combat with the model. A character may move off the edge of the board and be removed from play. Claim any carried items for the controlling player. So there's a couple where you get rewards if you're trying to move off the board. Difficult terrain, and you have to spend 2 inches, so pretty standard going over difficult terrain. Carrying items. At any time during its activation movement phase, a character may pick up an item within 1 inch and carry only one item at a time. Now, this is in addition to their normal gear. A character may drop the item they are carrying at the beginning of their activation, place the item within 1 inch of the character. They then can move. So it doesn't say that you lose movement by carrying it. But the idea is that if you had picked up the treasure, you can leave it behind for a friend to pick up and still be able to move the same phase. Shooting phase, he defines what that's like. Um, you always roll 2d6. There are a couple things that kick that up, abilities. And then, so the hero, the captain would only roll 2d6 for defend, and it's possible that he would defend. Any successful by the defender can be used to cancel one lower successful by the attacker. Okay, if the attacker still has successful rolls that have not been canceled out, move into the saving throw section. Cover. A model who's against a training feature does not take a -1 penalty to their quality test when defending against a shooting attack. Okay, defending character rolls are quality -1 dice. So instead of the 2 die, I would have only rolled 1, or I would have rolled 2 because he's a 3. The captain's a 3 die. 1 inch hand-to-hand combat. Characters within 1 inch, models within 1 inch are hand-to-hand combat. Declare an enemy model, check the attacker's quality dice, and roll the number of dice type. Defending roll, fight back, -1 die. Any successful 4+ rolls by the attacker can be used to cancel out lower successful rolls. If either character has successful rolls that have not been canceled out, their opponent has been hit. And if one of your main guys is hit, you go on to the saving throw section. So anytime a character fights while at least one friendly model is within 1 inch, add a die to the character's quality test. So there's a chance you're going to get the quality back. So he gives examples of the shooting phase, examples of the hand-to-hand melee phase, saving throws. This is when a character has been hit, they must make a saving throw. Roll a single quality test for each hit. A successful roll, 4+, means that the character does not take damage. An unsuccessful roll means that the wounded character has been defeated and is removed from the game. They drop anything they were carrying. Then your consolidation phase. Starting with the player with initiative, players alternate choosing one character who is currently in combat. That character must be moved up to 2 inches and must add the move outside of combat. Must end the move outside of combat. If this is not possible, the character remains where they are. During this move, models cannot pick up items or move off the board. Okay. It only says one, so you'd only do that with one guy who's in hand-to-hand combat. Random events, we went over that, and you can see how it could affect. So you have the neat thing that you can personalize your soldier. You can then, during the course of the game, you have some variability with the events, with the cards, and on top of that, the random events. The idea of this is playing on a 3x3 board. I'll probably be playing on a 2x2, and I might cut the drachma tokens down to 10 starting. And the scenarios were written to work between 2 and 4 players. Goes over the different deployment areas. It is the spirit of the game to negotiate with your opponent. Feel free to bribe other players and drachma tokens or form temporary alliances. So that's assuming that you're going to be playing 2, 3, 4. He also says something about deploying in corner, 3 inches of the corner. Different scenarios. Each of the scenarios, as I read them, have term limits. He gives an example setup. You don't have to follow this exactly. Obviously, you don't have a grid or something on it to show you where they are. So, baggage train raid, raid and pillage. So this would be against a house. Not necessarily, but you could put it like a campsite if you had the appropriate scenery if you wanted to, or homes or something. Ford the river, attempting to cross. And he has a great picture of that somewhere in this book. Holdout. A small patrol holds up in the fortified position. You have a little hill surrounded by palisade. So fortified position. Again, 6 turns. At the end of the, I think you would then figure out how many people had died, and the one had fewer, or there's different objectives in each scenario. Okay. Each one of these is very different than the other. So you have defender, attacker, breakthrough. Where you try to break through the enemy lines. Oh, you have to. A critical message must make its way through enemy territory. Awesome. Face off. Free for all, a team fight. Valor or pride may make characters seek each other out for one-on-one combat. So you would have a central combat zone here. Slay the commander. And so you have a series of tents, and these are again for 2-player where they're trying to find the commander. He's holding out on them, and they're trying to get the rewards that they've been promised from his greedy clutches. So in the solo or co-op play, you generate a enemy force. And if you want difficulty levels, instead of buying them 12 soldiers, 16, 20 for the hard, roll a d6 and add 3. The number of soldiers are equipped with ranged weapons. Roll 2d8 if one success. The enemy warband only captain contains only a captain. Of 2 successes, the enemy warband contains a captain and a second. And this you could decide randomly at the beginning of each battle. Divide the enemy characters. Okay, this is so it's the same basically, but you're not choosing the forces per se. Now let's see something. What I'm looking for is I just was curious if he gave the option. No, but there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 soldiers, so no, you couldn't. But you could easily do a d6, and if you roll a 6, you go to the mercenaries at the back. elite soldiers. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you roll an 8, roll twice, and that type of thing. So you can make it work. Or depending on your minis, if you only have the spear and shields, or the sword and shield, that's what you would have. Deployment, he goes over that, and this is for solo play again. So the intrigue cards, this is something that's different in the intrigue cards than the versus play. Your Jack, roll a single quality dice for your second. If failed, they cannot activate during the movement of this turn. Queen, Atala, goddess of the war cry. Compare the number of models on the board controlled by the player and the AI. The side with the most amount of models has its movement ranged half for this turn. King, for the duration of the turn, anytime a friendly character would end a move within 1 inch of an enemy before the character moves, make a quality test. If there is no successes, the character's activation immediately ends. And then, this works against you. Okay. Your opponent gets 3 random soldiers or 3 enemy soldiers. And then Joker, no characters controlled by the player may activate this turn. So your captain or his second would not get to go. Enemies, normal. So this is the beginning of the AI to some degree towards the nearest opponent that is not currently being attacked by another group of enemies. They will end their movement within 1 inch of another member if the group is possible. They will attempt to remain in cover as they do so. Enemies will pursue objectives that are not too far out of the way of their path. Use your judgment there. Unless they can shoot during this turn, enemies with bows and slings will stay in formation with their group in just outside 9 inch of the nearest opponent and will attempt to remain in cover. If an opponent is in range, the enemies will always shoot the nearest opponent. Okay. Fighting. The enemy activates their captain in the second, then the soldiers when fighting. Campaigning. You have he gives a couple different options. Start your captain and second using the normal warband creation rules on the warband's roster sheet. Add 10 drachma to your warband's treasury as well as any drachma left over after hiring your soldiers. After the battle, collect your drachma. Add any remaining drachma tokens. Injury and death. After each battle, for each character from your warband who was defeated, roll a d10. So he's using character alternately here. I think that this would also apply for your soldiers. If you wanted to, sort of like a Necromunda or Mordheim type of idea, that you'd roll for each one. So 1 is automatic death, 10 heroic resilience. The character is instantly promoted to veteran. Activates betrayed. Once per campaign, you may re-roll the results. If your captain is ever killed, your second can step in to fill their shoes. Change the second's abilities quality to 3d8 and roll for 1 major ability to add to their skill sheet. If your second is killed, you do not immediately gain another one. In the following battle, keep track of the number of kills by each of your soldiers. The soldier with the highest number of kills is promoted to second. Change their quality to 2d8 and roll a major and minor ability. This is where he defines veterans. Anytime a character takes part in battle that is not permanently killed, check 1 box in the experience column of their skill sheet. When all boxes have been checked, a character becomes a veteran. Permanently add 1 die to their quality test. Warband upkeep. After each battle, pay 1 drachma for each soldier in your warband roster and 2 drachma for your second. If you ever are unable to fully pay your warband, any characters you do not pay may not be deployed in the next battle. So maybe, okay. After upkeep costs, a soldier may be removed from your warband roster by paying 1 drachma to send them on their way. If you wanted to swap soldiers out, hiring, your warband may never have more than 20 drachma worth of soldiers at any time. To add new soldiers, you may hire them by paying the cost listed in the profiles. And then this is the first mention of the optional elite soldiers. So when you finally get up to 200 drachma in your bank, you can retire and get a. And I just read it, and of course, I'm immediately. Grapes are you could settle down, buy an estate, growing grapes, olives, or living off the profits. And living off the profits. These are the elites. These are sort of interesting in the fact that he mentions cavalry here. It doesn't give anything about the horse having special other than the movement, but he goes into different types of soldiers: your archer, Cretan archer, Rhodian slinger, Thracian peltist, Peloponnesian hoplite. Their costs are higher, but when he defends, he does not take away the 1 die. So instead of doing the 2d6 or the 1d6, he would now always roll 2d6 and be able to block 2 attacks. Nubian scout and Gaelic berserker. Multiplayer campaign, Sons of Ares. This is sort of like a major battle type of thing where you're going to be playing and you will go up and down here. And you can also use different scenarios if you wanted. First battle center, it always starts in the center. And then, so if you win, if Sparta wins, you would go towards breakthrough. Oh, this is the idea that the final one's going to be the holdout. Okay, so you're attacking their headquarters, their cool thing here. Name stuff. Name generator. D20. And nicknames. So there we have Bronze Shield Silver Coin. Ancient Greek mercenary skirmish war games. I'm very intrigued with it. So intrigued that, as you can see, and of course I'm going to be looking to buy some peltists and some light cavalry and some different screws. I did notice some different sources for minis. You can get minis from Victrix, you can get minis from Footsore, you can get minis from... Sorry there, I dropped something. I want to make sure I picked it up and didn't lose it. You can get minis from, I said Victrix, Footsore, I want to say Warlords, but that's not the guys who do bolt action. Warlord? Anyway, they're not as hard to find as I initially thought, and there is a nice selection. They're not as finely detailed as the 40K Games Workshop stuff, but they are detailed. Now, you can also build them up and add some of your own details if you are inclined to do that, if you are starting from scratch. Some of you watching this may already have a small collection of historical minis that you use or want to use, and so you're set for that. So please remember to like and subscribe, and thank you very much if you made it this far or even close to this far. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoy it, and happy gaming.